A woman who was already completely dead suddenly opened her eyes. It turns out that in another world, she had poisoned and killed 999 enemies with poison, but in the end, she was blown up and killed by one of her enemies using a hot weapon, causing her soul to transmigrate into this world into the body of a woman with the same name. Looking at the coffin in front of her, the woman slightly raised her hand, and a small knife appeared out of thin air in her palm. This was not some so-called system, but rather the direct inheritance base of the Mu family from her previous life. Just as this woman, skilled in both poison and martial arts, thought she was about to fail again, footsteps sounded on top of the coffin. At this moment, a man standing in front of the grave spoke coldly. His voice was dark and deep. Your Highness, are you alright? Shut up. I am not dead yet. The guards dared not say another word. In an instant, the world fell silent, except for the thumping sounds coming from below. Hearing this, the prince immediately ordered the guards to dig up the grave. Upon hearing this command, the guards became even more flustered. Your Highness, the deceased is already gone. Let's at least leave him some dignity. Enough nonsense. I told you to dig, so dig, hurry up. With no other choice, the guards could only risk the wrath of heaven, and tremblingly went over to dig up the grave. Actually, it wasn't that the prince was cruel, but rather that, years ago, a monk had told him, Your Highness, when you turn 18, you will face a deadly calamity. If you wish to survive it safely, there is a way only a woman can resolve it for you. If this woman enters the grave and then awakens and emerges from it, she would be the ideal candidate. This person is no ordinary individual. After the time it takes to burn 2 sticks of incense, the woman was finally dug out. Seeing that she was still alive, the guards all showed expressions of terror, while only the prince stood to the side, looking at her coldly. Hey, what are you staring at? Keep your chill to yourself, I'm already cold enough. Aren't you afraid you'll freeze yourself to death? How dare you speak to our prince like that? Do you not value your life? It took me so much effort to get out of that place, and now you want to take my life? Believe it or not, I could poison all of you with just one dose. The prince noticed the flash of ruthlessness in the woman's eyes, and found it quite interesting, so he asked her, Who are you? The woman didn't answer right away. She first looked at the cold man before her, and realized that he was already gravely poisoned. It probably wouldn't last much longer. Since you saved me, I'll give you an antidote pill. Consider it my repayment for saving my life. That way we're even. Your Highness, you mustn't. Divine Physician's son is already on his way. Once the so-called miracle doctor you're waiting for arrives, who knows if our prince will still be alive by then. He only has the time it takes to drink a cup of tea left. After that, the poison will reach his heart and veins, and he will die bleeding from all 7 orifices. Insolent commoner, if you curse the prince again, I'll take your life. Qingfeng, stand down. Without my order, you are not to speak again. Qingfeng glared fiercely, while the woman reluctantly stood beside the prince. Since you can tell that I am poisoned, can you also identify what kinds of poison they are? From my brief observation, the deadly poison that is about to claim your life was administered a day ago. As for the others, I would need to take your pulse to know for sure. Qingfeng was dumbfounded. The young woman before him could tell with just a glance that his master was gravely poisoned, and could even pinpoint when the poisoning occurred. He wondered about this woman standing before him. Does she really have such skills, or is she just trying to get the prince's attention? Then I'll trouble you, miss. The woman stepped forward and took his pulse, remaining silent for a moment. The prince's body was actually afflicted with as many as 20 different poisons. Judging from his pulse, these 20 poisons had been administered since he was a child, and over the years, more were added one after another, only stopping when he turned 14. Well, were you able to determine how many kinds of poison the prince has been afflicted with? Besides the deadly poison, there are as many as 20 different poisons in the prince's body. Although over the years some people have tried to nurse the prince back to health, their efforts have only treated the symptoms, not the root cause. The medicine he's been taking recently hasn't suppressed the poisons. Instead, it has disrupted the original balance, and there are signs that the poisons may soon erupt. Upon hearing this, the guards were shocked. Lately, it's been Divine Doctor's son who's been treating the prince. Could it be that he actually wants to take the prince's life? For now, take this detoxification pill. First, we'll get rid of the deadly poison, and if there's a chance later, I'll help you remove the other poisons. This pill of mine can also temporarily suppress the rest of the toxins in your body, and at the very least, it will keep you safe for half a year. All 20 types of poison need to be eliminated together. Otherwise, disrupting that balance will only make things more complicated. After the prince took the pill, a warm sensation spread through his dantian, and the tearing pain in his heart and lungs from earlier vanished as well. May I ask for your esteemed name, miss? No need for formalities. Just give me a token so I can find you if needed. You are a prince. After all, who knows? I might need your help someday. As long as you don't get poisoned again within the next 6 months, you'll be perfectly fine. In half a year, I'll come find you and give you the other antidotes. This is the royal residence's token. As long as you have this token, you can enter the prince's manor. After handing over the token, Prince Ye got up and prepared to return to the city. The woman, relying on the original host's memories, learned that her name was Mu Fengjian, the beloved daughter of the current prime minister, a typical homebody of her time. As for Ye, he was the regent prince of the Shang kingdom, infamous for killing without batting an eye. According to the original host's memories, she also had a mother who loved her dearly, and the reason for her death was that someone had been feeding her chronic poison since childhood. Don't worry, I will avenge you, and I will protect your mother for you. The woman who had just been buried during the day returned home that very night, but her mother, who was about to hang herself, showed no fear at all. Instead, there was a hint of relief. Yanner, mother sees you again. I've already had many hallucinations today. Don't be afraid. Mother will come to join you soon. Mother, please come down. Mother will come down to join you soon. Mother still has 300,000 taels of silver notes with her. Just wait a moment. Mother will be right there. Mu Fengjian, terrified, rushed over to save her mother and immediately brought her back to the room. The exhausted madam did not fall asleep right away. Instead, she forced herself to stay fully alert because she was afraid this was all just a dream and that when she woke up, everything would be gone. Mu Fengjian had no other choice but to press her mother's sleep acupoint directly and then prepared to go teach the people of the Mu Manor a good lesson because in the entire Mu Manor, aside from her and her mother, there wasn't a single good person. Inside the regent's residence, Qingfeng was reporting news to Lord Ye Laijiu. My lord, your subordinates have already found out who sent the people that have been pursuing us recently. It was my dear royal brother's men. My lord, you are wise according to the clues we uncovered. Everything points to the current emperor. It turns out the emperor is wary of the regent's power. As long as the regent is not eliminated, the emperor cannot eat or sleep in peace. Then, my lord, What should we do now? Kill everyone who tried to assassinate us, then send all their bodies to the Dali Temple, and say that I was ambushed on my way back to the holy capital. Isn't the minister of the Dali Temple one of the emperor's lackeys? I'd wager that in the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, that exalted royal brother of mine will know all about it. Yes, my lord. Your subordinate will see to it at once. Wait, how did the investigation on that young lady go earlier today? Qing Feng looked utterly incredulous. For so many years, his lord had never inquired about any young woman. He'd always assumed his lord was gay. Was there a problem? He didn't dare to ask. He just thought he'd misheard earlier. My lord, we've already found out about that young lady. She is Miss Dai, the daughter of Prime Minister Mu. She has been ill for a long time and rarely leaves her bed. Her mother is a wealthy merchant from Jiangnan, so the entire holy capital knows that Prime Minister Mu has a merchant's daughter. It's still Miss Dai, yet no one has ever seen her. Before Ye Lijue could fully process this, Qing Feng reported another piece of news. My lord, this Miss Mu once had a marriage arrangement with the third prince. However, the eldest Miss Mu suddenly passed away, and from what's being said in the palace, they intend to replace the eldest Miss Mu with the second Miss Mu, so the engagement with the third prince can continue. As soon as Ye Lijue heard this, he immediately understood the intrigue behind it. The people in the palace are simply after the wealth of the Mu family's senior madam. Qing Feng, do you think someone who's died could come back to life? Your subordinate finds this extremely strange. According to the information I've gathered, that eldest Miss Mu truly showed no signs of life that day. The senior madam of the Mu family fainted from crying several times, and even after Miss Mu was buried, she was on the verge of a breakdown. But who would have thought that Miss Mu would actually come back to life? I wonder if the entire Mu household will be thrown into chaos once they find out about this. Interesting, truly interesting. In the Ruyi courtyard of the Mu family's second madam, the mother and daughter were happily chatting. Mother, that little wretch is finally dead. Does that mean I'm now the only Miss Dai of the Prime Minister's residence? Of course, my daughter is so beautiful, gentle, and sensible, and your maternal grandfather is the Minister of Personnel. How could your title, as Miss Dai, possibly be compared to that merchant girl from the main branch? That's wonderful. Mother, does that mean the engagement between the Prime Minister's residence and the third prince is now mine? So it turns out that Mu Shuxue had long set her sights on the third prince, because he is the Empress's legitimate son, and the most likely to ascend the throne. Although the first prince also has a chance to compete with the third prince, the crown prince always appears sickly, so the emperor will have to consider carefully. Shuxu, don't worry. Tonight, when your father and I are studying human anatomy, I'll have him talk about it properly. Soon, Prime Minister Mu returned to the residence, and the second madam had already prepared sobering soup for him. Prime Minister, you've worked hard outside. I've already prepared sobering soup for you, and after that, you can have a bowl of nourishing soup, so you'll have the energy for tonight. Madam, you're so thoughtful. It's so late, yet you still waited up for me and went to all this trouble. With such care, what more could I ask for? This warm and harmonious atmosphere came to an abrupt end with the arrival of Mu Fengjian. When the three of them saw Mu Fengjian, one was utterly terrified, one fell to the ground in shock, and the other fainted from fright. Mu Fengjian took out some impotence-inducing poison from her spatial storage, slowly walked up to Prime Minister Mu, and mischievously picked up a teacup to look at him. Father, how could you be so careless? Look, you've even fallen to the ground. Have some tea to calm your nerves. Prime Minister Mu looked horrified, unsure whether the daughter before him was a human or a ghost. After drinking the tea, cold sweat broke out all over him. After that, Mu Fengjian sprinkled some colorless and tasteless poisonous powder on the faces of the second madam and Mu Shakshu, who were nearby. Seeing the crowd around her frozen in fear, Mu Fengjian walked away contentedly toward her grandmother's Jifu courtyard. Everywhere Mu Fengjian passed, the maids and servants either fainted from fright or ran away screaming. Inside the hall, her grandmother was having a meal. Even Mu Fengjian, standing to the side, couldn't help but curse inwardly at this whole family. Every single one of them was eating. But who was thinking about her mother? The entire Mu household's food and drink depended on her mother's business, yet not a single person cared about her. The old nanny beside her finally noticed Mu Fengjian. Grandmother was fine, eating heartily. Young miss, are you a person or a ghost? Nanny Li, I'm so cold. What about you? Before she could finish speaking, both grandmother and Nanny Li fainted. How fragilely they just fainted like that. Afterward, Mu Fengjian dragged grandmother and Nanny Li to the doorway, letting the old madam truly experience the chill of the late night. At some point, Ye Lijue, who was on the roof, witnessed the scene and couldn't help but sigh. Interesting, very interesting. The woman who had just been buried during the day returned home that night, but instead of being happy, her family members were all scared out of their wits. It turned out that her death was closely connected to them. After Mu Fengjian left, the second madam, Lady Wang, regained her senses. Master, just now what we saw was Yanner. Prime Minister Mu thought over the whole sequence of events and realized that his frail daughter had never actually died. The eldest miss isn't dead? Why has no one reported this matter? What are the maids in this household even doing? At this moment, Mu Shukshu, who was standing nearby, also recovered. Mother, eldest sister isn't dead. She just came back to find us. That unfilial girl might as well have just died. Showing up in the middle of the night pretending to be a ghost does she want to scare me to death? The second madam, seizing the opportunity, kept saying that Mu Fengman's return would bring misfortune. The more Prime Minister Mu thought about it, the more sense it made to him, and he turned around, ready to go teach Mu Fengman a lesson. At that moment, a maid from the old madam's courtyard rushed in to report. Prime Minister, the old madam has fainted. What? How have you servants been taking care of the old madam? And what about Nanny Li, who's always by the old madam's side? Reporting to the Prime Minister, Nanny Li has also fainted. As soon as Prime Minister Mu heard this, he was certain it was that rebellious daughter's doing, and hurried to the old madam's Jifu courtyard. Soon, several people arrived inside the Jifu courtyard, and Fu Yi was also there. Dr. Zhao, how is my mother? Zhao Fu Yi lowered his head in silence, let out a deep sigh, and then shook his head repeatedly. The old madam's condition is not very good. She is already running a high fever, and now the cold has entered her body. She will need several days of nourishing medicinal broths. Zhao Fu Yi, stay here and watch over her. Only leave after the old madam's fever has subsided. Yes, Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mu turned around and stormed out of the room in anger, heading straight for the ladies' Jinya courtyard. Inside Jinya courtyard, the mother and daughter were happily enjoying their meal. Mother, after we finish eating, let's go out and buy a few maidservants. Alright, mother will listen to Yan. Once we've finished our meal, we'll go out and buy some maidservants. The two of them were happily chatting when, not long after, they heard the sound of the courtyard gate being kicked open. Mu Fengjian was a bit disappointed. These people really are useless. This was much later than she had expected. At this moment, Prime Minister Mu, along with the second madam and Mu Shukshui, followed closely behind and entered the room. Without saying a word, Prime Minister Mu walked straight up to Mu Fengjian and gave her a hard slap as soon as he saw her. The first madam snapped out of her shock, hurried over to embrace her daughter, and the anger boiling in her heart was about to erupt. In fact, Mu Fengjian wasn't taking the beating for nothing. She was using this opportunity to make her mother completely give up on this heartless father. Standing to the side, the second second Madam Wang and Mu Fengjian were visibly excited. They were practically wishing the master would beat the eldest young lady to death. What kind of first madam are you? Your daughter came back, so why didn't you inform me? Now the whole household is in a state of panic. After scolding the first madam, he turned to Mu Fengjian and berated her. Was what happened to your grandmother you're doing? If anything happens to your grandmother, you'll go to the grave with her. That last sentence successfully added fuel to the fire in Madame Han's heart. The second madam quickly tried to smooth things over. Master, please calm down. Perhaps elder sister was so happy to see the young lady return that she simply forgot. Please don't blame elder sister. She was probably just overjoyed. Get out of the way. Right now, I am speaking with the Prime Minister. This is no place for a mere concubine to interrupt. The second madam looked at Madame Han in disbelief. Someone who usually gives money whenever asked and is easy to manipulate, today is speaking so bluntly. Madam, who are you calling a concubine? My mother is the second madam, a legal wife, with the same status as you. Mu Fengjian was the first to protest. If her mother were a concubine, wouldn't that make her an illegitimate daughter? Ha 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 ha. A legal wife? In the entire Zheshang kingdom, only Prime Minister Mu's household has this so-called legal wife, and this legal wife is actually a concubine-born daughter from the family of a high official who didn't even think much of her. Only Prime Minister Mu treasures her like a gem, insisting on elevating a concubine-born daughter who can't even show her face in public to the status of a legal wife. Has he never heard how people outside are laughing at him? Prime Minister Mu was so embarrassed by the words that his old face turned red. Trembling with anger, he pointed at the first madam and said, Wife, you are simply insane, completely unreasonable. The second madam was even more furious. She was a concubine-born daughter herself, and that was a deep pain in her heart. But since she couldn't change it, she racked her brains to ensure that her own children would all be legitimate sons and daughters. This method was actually taught to her by her own mother, who was also a concubine. Yes, I must be crazy. All these years, I have contributed so much silver to the Mu household, and for the sake of your reputation, Prime Minister Mu, I even agreed to your utterly unreasonable idea of making a concubine your equal wife. A bastard son and daughter raised by a mistress have now suddenly become the legitimate son and daughter of the Mu family. Prime Minister Mu, tell me, am I not crazy? Prime Minister Mu was left at a loss for words by the madam's accusations, not knowing how to refute her. Ever since you slapped our daughter, the bond between us as husband and wife has been severed. From today on, I will no longer contribute a single coin to the Prime Minister's residence. Tomorrow, I will take my daughter to the other estate to recuperate. In fact, if it weren't for finding a good home for his daughter, he would have kicked the hypocrite in front of him long ago. When Prime Minister Mu heard the madam say she would no longer support the Mu residence, he began to panic inside. The Mu family's fortune had long since been squandered. Without the madam's financial support, their comfortable life would be impossible to maintain. You're wrong. I know you've had a hard time all these years, and it's thanks to you that Yanner's illness has been taken care of, but the entire Mu residence can't do without you. Why don't you continue to manage the household affairs? You're wrong. When Mrs. Han heard this name she hadn't heard in over a decade, the mockery in her eyes deepened. It turned out that now, hearing this name from the man before her, she no longer felt the happiness and shyness of her youth, but instead felt a growing sense of disgust. Enough, Prime Minister Mu. My mind is made up. Don't say any more. The madam still addressed him as Prime Minister Mu, which showed that the tenderness of the past was gone. Prime Minister Mu was just about to say something when he saw a servant hurrying over. Reporting to you, my lord, the eunuch delivering the imperial edict from the palace has arrived. This is the 99th time His Majesty has changed his mind. The eldest daughter of the Mu family, who had already been buried for 12 hours, was originally betrothed to the third prince, but now the engagement has been transferred to the second daughter of the Mu family, who has an IQ of 250. By the Emperor's decree, Emperor Zhao Yun announces that the eldest daughter of the Mu family has passed away due to illness, and the engagement with the third prince is annulled. Just as everyone is puzzled, Eunuch Wang reads another imperial edict. By the Emperor's command, the daughter of Prime Minister Mu Fengjian, virtuous and kind, and the third prince are a match made in heaven. The second daughter of the Mu family, Mu Fengjian, is now betrothed to the third prince as his consort. The wedding can be held as soon as possible. Congratulations, Prime Minister Mu. Please accept the imperial edict quickly. I still have to return to serve His Majesty. Prime Minister Mu hurriedly got up from the ground and took the edict, with Mu Fengjian following closely behind. Father, let me keep my imperial edict myself. The second young lady truly is extraordinary. Her overall bearing is a perfect match for the third prince. I offer my congratulations to the second young lady here. The people standing nearby felt a bit awkward, but didn't know how to explain things to Eunuch Wang. You've mistaken me for someone else. I am Mu Fengjian, the eldest young lady of the Mu family. What? You say you're the eldest young lady of the Mu family? But wasn't the eldest young lady of the Mu family already buried? Prime Minister Mu broke out in a cold sweat, afraid that a single misstep could lead to the crime of betraying the Emperor. Prime Minister Mu, what is going on here? I need to report back to His Majesty. Lord Wang, it's like this. My daughter was indeed buried yesterday, but for some reason, she has come back to life. I only learned of this myself this morning. I hope you can put in a good word for me before His Majesty. Come back to life. These 4 words made Lord Wang's hair stand on end, and he hurried back to report the matter to the Emperor. In the imperial study, Lord Wang reported everything to the Emperor in detail. After hearing it all, the Emperor couldn't help but feel anxious. Eunuch Wang, summon Lord Chen from the Astronomical Bureau for me. Yes, Your Majesty. I will go at once to have Lord Chen come before you. The Emperor was not anxious over an ordinary woman, but because years ago, Lord Chen from the Astronomical Bureau had said that this woman was destined by fate, and that whoever obtained her would obtain the world. Lord Chen entered the hall. Lord Chen, rise. I have some questions for you. Thank you, Your Majesty. Lord Chen, have you ever heard of someone coming back to life after death? Your Majesty, I have never seen such a person myself, but my master once said that those who return from the dead are either a great blessing or a great calamity. After hearing this, the Emperor became somewhat intrigued. What do you mean by that? Those who have died have already severed their ties to this world. If they come back to life, their karma resumes, but their temperament has already been altered. Such a person might become violent and slaughter all living beings under heaven, or, if kind-hearted, might save the masses. Then let me ask you, if the Prime Minister Mu's daughter, Miss Mu, were to come back to life, how would you explain that? Lord Chen was so frightened that he hurriedly knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, if Miss Mu were to be resurrected, it would be a great calamity for our Zaishan kingdom. Then should I just kill her directly? Would that be acceptable or not? Your Majesty, this is fate, and cannot be defied. If your Majesty insists on doing so, it will plunge the entire Zaishan kingdom into utter ruin. The Emperor found it more and more absurd as he listened. How could a weak woman possibly overturn the entire Zaishan kingdom? If she truly could bring about such a disaster, then let's just marry Miss Mu to the Regent Prince as his consort. Your Majesty, you must not. Absolutely must not. The Regent Prince's fortune is excellent enough. Say no more, Lord Chen. You may leave now. I have other matters to attend to. Seeing that the Emperor's mind was made up, Lord Chen could only withdraw helplessly. After receiving the Imperial Edict, Mu Fengjian took advantage of the empty courtyard to enter her inheritance space. The space was vast, filled with medical books left by the Mu family ancestors, all kinds of advanced medical equipment, and even a spring that could cure all diseases. She hadn't expected that coming to this world would actually revive the spiritual spring water. With this spring water, she could have cured the Regent Prince's illness instantly, but she simply chose not to, just wouldn't do it. That's all. The next day, Mu Fengjian put everything useful from the residence into her own space, not leaving the Mu family with a single benefit. After packing up, Mu Fengjian and her mother were just about to leave the courtyard when they saw a maid hurrying over. Madam, young miss, the Prime Minister has asked you to go to the main hall to receive the Imperial Edict. The two of them looked puzzled. Hadn't they just received an edict? Why was there another one? Regardless, the two still made their way to the main hall. Madam, where are you planning to go? Mu Chang, as I've said before, my daughter needs to recuperate in peace. I'm taking her to the other residence so she can properly recover her health. Before Prime Minister Mu could say anything, Eunuch Wang immediately stepped in and said, Congratulations, madam, congratulations. Miss Mu's joyous occasion has arrived. Eunuch Wang, what do you mean by this? Madam, you'll know in a moment. Once everyone had gathered, Eunuch Wang began to read the Imperial Edict. By the mandate of heaven, the Emperor decrees. The daughter of the Mu family, Mu Fengjian, is intelligent and kind, virtuous and gracious, gentle and refined, outstanding in both character and appearance, and in good health. She is a perfect match for my Regent Prince, Li Ju. I hereby bestow this marriage, granting Mu Fengjian the title of principal consort to the Regent Prince. Once she comes of age, the wedding may take place. Upon hearing this, Mu Fengjian was furious. Isn't the Emperor blatantly lying with his eyes wide open? The entire Zishan kingdom knows she is frail and sickly, yet he claims she is in good health. Isn't this clearly the Emperor setting him up? Well then, this young lady, will play along and show you what I'm capable of. Miss Mu, please accept the Imperial Edict. At this moment, Mu Shushu, who was standing to the side, suddenly realized why didn't her own edict specify whether she was to be the principal consort or a secondary consort, while Mu Fengjian, in just a short while, had become her royal aunt? Back in her courtyard, Mu Shushui was feeling very agitated. Mother, what's going on with this Mu Fengjian? How did she suddenly end up marrying the Regent Prince? Doesn't that make her my royal aunt from now on? Mother, I don't want her to become my royal aunt. Silly girl, how many times have I taught you to stay calm and composed when things happen? Don't be so impatient, always think things through first. And as for Mu Fengjian, do you really think she'll live to see her wedding day? Mu Shushui looked puzzled. Mother, what do you mean? Silly child, think carefully. In the entire Zishan kingdom, who doesn't know that the Emperor and the Regent Prince appear cordial on the surface, but have been secretly fighting for so long without either side winning?
And that Regent Prince is violent by nature, moody, and kills without batting an eye. How could he possibly obediently follow the Emperor's orders and accept this imperial marriage decree? For all we know, if he's in a bad mood one day, he might just kill that little girl. The more Mu Shushui listened, the more excited she became. Then, Mother, we don't have to do anything at all. We can just sit back and watch the show. Maybe one day, if the Regent Prince is unhappy, he'll just kill Mu Fengjian. Silly girl, we need to keep the initiative in our own hands. The slow-acting poison we used before actually let him survive again. This time, we'll have the housekeeper use a strong poison that will definitely kill her for good. Mother. Now that the first madam has left, I noticed they didn't take anything with them before they left. Can we take the things from their room for ourselves? Since they're gone, it means they don't want those things anymore. No one's going to use them, so wouldn't it be a waste to just leave them there? The mother and daughter exchanged a look, both wearing smug smiles. Ha 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 ha. What do you mean? Nothing's there. Reporting to second madam, there's nothing left in the first madam's courtyard. Every room is empty. How could that be? We didn't see them take anything when they left. Second madam and Mu Shushu exchanged glances, their eyes full of disbelief, and a chill ran through them. Mu Fengjian and her mother had just left the residence when Qingfeng arrived with a carriage, blocking their way at the gate. Greetings, Miss Mu, he said. Our lord sent this carriage, thinking Miss Mu might need it.
Who would have thought that the injured man in black before us wasn't hiding to escape pursuit, but was actually waiting for this seductive woman? After leaving the shogunate, the group arrived at He Lu. They had just sat down for lunch when a man burst in excitedly. Young miss, is it true that the young lady has really come back to life? Is she really going to marry that ruthless regent? Uncle Lu, don't be anxious, speak slowly. It turns out that the man before them was not only the head madam's loyal servant, but also Uncle Lu. Young miss, you mustn't. How could a mere servant like me accept such a courtesy from you? Uncle Lu, you deserve this gesture. All these years, you've been taking care of the business outside, and I truly appreciate all your hard work and dedication. Miss, please don't say that. My life was given to me by my master. When the two were reminiscing about the past, Mu Fengjian accidentally saw a seriously injured person on the street. Then Mu Fengjian lied that she was going to buy something and walked towards the street. When the injured man saw Mu Fengjian, he quickly took a defensive posture. Miss, you are being chased by someone. Please don't get involved in this mess, so as not to affect you. You have been poisoned. If I leave now, you will not be chased to death by those people. You could also be poisoned and die. The man was shocked, hadn't expected the woman before him to be so perceptive. Miss, I hope you can save me. If you do, I will owe you my life, and will serve by your side. I can take you in, she replied. But from now on, you must follow my orders and are not allowed to seek revenge on your own. Thank you, miss. I will certainly obey your arrangements in the future. With that, Mu Fengjian tossed him a pill. Do you have a name?
I ask Miss to grant me a name.
Since you'll be following me from now on, I'll call you Gudan, Dog Egg. Thank you, miss, for giving me a name. Just then, Jingfeng arrived after hearing the commotion. Miss Mu, has something happened? I just recruited a new subordinate. In a moment, hide her in the carriage and don't let anyone find out. Qingfeng was puzzled, but held back from asking more. Understood, Miss Mu. I'll take her to the carriage right away. The two had just left when a few burly men came up to question Mu Fengjian. Little girl, did you see an injured man here just now? It seems he went that way. This whole scene was being watched by a man from an upstairs window nearby. After finishing lunch, the group was getting ready to go to the market to buy maids and servants.
Gudan, this is my mother.
The madam was not surprised, because she trusted that her daughter must have her own reasons for what she did. Are your injuries serious? No. Let's find a place to treat your wounds first. Madam, I'm fine. They're just superficial wounds, nothing serious.
Eat these, and your wounds will heal much faster.
Thank you, miss. Miss Mu. After saying this at the servant market, she took out a stack of silver notes as soon as they entered. Very quickly, a group of maids and young servants were brought out in front of them. The maids and young servants in front of them did look quite ordinary, but after being introduced, they learned that these people were all children born into service in wealthy households. It was only because their original masters had fallen on hard times that they were sent here by their new masters to be sold. Mother, let's take all of them. The shopkeeper explained that these maids were a bit more expensive, since they were all top-class maids, each one cost more. Enough with the talk, we'll take them all. With Madame Han's astonishing wealth, the maids and young servants were soon brought back together to the separate residence. Uncle Han, there's no need for such formalities. How have you and Aunt Han been these past years? Miss, this old servant has been well. Seeing that you are well puts my mind at ease. Uncle Han, this is Yanar. Hello, Uncle Han. Oh, young miss, please, you mustn't. This old servant cannot accept such courtesy from you. As long as I know you are all well, that is enough. After the pleasantries, Mu Fengjian walked over to Qingfeng. Qingfeng, would you like to come in for a cup of tea? I truly envy you, miss, but I must return to report to the prince. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave for now. All right, please thank everyone for me when you return. And thank you as well, Wang. You've worked hard. Miss Mu, please don't worry. I will definitely pass your words on to the prince. This is all just part of my duty. It's not hard at all. Farewell, Miss Mu. Inside the Fengji Palace of the Imperial Palace, Empress Su looked at Nanny Su in utter disbelief, as if she had come back from the dead Mu Fengjian and had really come back to life. Your Majesty, it's absolutely true. This old servant heard it from someone close to eunuch Wang. Miss Mu really is alive. How could this be? The Empress wondered. I've never heard of anything so bizarre. Before Empress Su could make sense of it, a maid hurried over. This servant greets Your Majesty, the Empress. Xiang Lian rushed in, flustered. What's the matter? The Empress asked. Your Majesty, I just returned from outside and heard that His Majesty has bestowed a marriage upon the Regent Prince. The Empress asked. Which family's daughter did His Majesty grant to the Regent Prince as his consort? It can't be that Lu Lingwei, can it? No, Your Majesty. Xiang Lian replied. She is Mu Fengjian, the legitimate daughter of Prime Minister Mu. What? Who did you say? Empress Su lost her composure. Why would the Emperor betroth Mu Fengjian, who has always opposed her, to the Regent Prince? Please calm your anger, Your Majesty. Eunuch Wang revealed a bit of information, saying that Minister Chen mentioned that those who come back from the dead are either extremely lucky or extremely unlucky. The Emperor believes that Mu Fengjian is extremely unlucky, so he bestowed her in marriage to the Regent Prince, hoping she would bring about his demise. After hearing this, Empress Su let out a long sigh of relief, grateful that her son's engagement to Mu Fengjian had been annulled. Meanwhile, in Shanling Palace, noble consort Li was still thinking about how the Emperor praised her last night. At that moment, a maid came in to report. Your ladyship, I've heard something. Niu, I heard that the Emperor has arranged a marriage for the Regent Prince, and the bride is none other than the Mu family's eldest young lady, Mu Fengjian, who was already declared dead. Who did the Emperor bestow upon the Regent Prince in marriage? Niu is the Mu family's eldest young lady, and the Emperor is marrying a dead person to the Regent Prince. Isn't the Emperor afraid that the Regent Prince might rebel because of this? Your Highness, I heard that the Mu family's eldest young lady, who was supposed to be dead, is actually alive. Alive? Yes, Your Highness. It's absolutely true. She also knows about Minister Chen's divination for Mu Fengjian. Her fourth son, Prince Ye Chenjun, is only a year younger than the third prince, Ye Chenao, and his abilities are about the same as the third prince's. However, the Emperor still prefers the third prince a bit more, which has always made him feel somewhat resentful. Later, when he heard about Minister Chen's divination for Mu Fengjian, that whoever wins her will win the world, it made him even more unwilling to accept it. But he still went to find out exactly what was going on. In the Mu residence, the old madam finally woke up. Mother, I saw your eldest daughter's soul return, someone said. Mother, that rebellious girl isn't dead. She scared us in the middle of the night, causing chaos all over the house. The old madam looked at her son in disbelief. She's not dead? How could she not be dead? Didn't the servants see her buried with their own eyes? She must have been rescued by someone, he replied. Don't worry, mother, that girl isn't dead. You don't need to be afraid. As soon as the old madam heard that she wasn't dead, she immediately perked up. Where is that rebellious girl? Bring her here to Kowtow and admit her wrongdoing. She's so unfilial. I want her to kneel in the ancestral hall if she doesn't kneel for 3 days and 3 nights. She can forget about coming out. Mother, please don't worry. She won't be coming back to upset you anytime soon. The old madam thought she had been driven out by Prime Minister Mu, and finally felt a bit relieved. The second madam quickly added fuel to the fire. Mother, before the main madam left, she said she wouldn't provide any more support to the household. That Han woman actually doesn't intend to contribute to the family anymore, so what am I supposed to eat? Bring her here. I'll ask her myself whether she's still the main madam of the Mu household. Madame Mu Qian and the young lady have already gone to the other residence. How dare she act so arrogantly? A woman woman puts on sexy lingerie for the first time, but unexpectedly, the man in front of her refuses to make a move no matter what. It turns out that in the previous episodes, the man was rendered powerless after his daughter, who had come back from the dead, asked him for a cup of tea. After the old madam fainted again, strange illnesses began to appear throughout the entire household. Some people broke out in boils all over their faces. Some reeked of foul odors, and the most serious case was Mu Fengjian, who actually fell into a coma. The next day, Mu Fengjian hurried to the clinic outside. Sir, is there any hope for my illness?
With you wearing a mask like that, how am I supposed to read your face? We doctors rely on observation, listening, questioning, and pulse taking. Just let me examine you properly. The doctor quickly took her pulse, but after checking, he said nothing. You're ill, but I can't treat you. Why? Aren't you a doctor? How can you not read my pulse? It's strange, your condition seems like an illness, but also not like one. Forgive me, but I am powerless. You'd better find someone else. While chaos reigned in the main residence, things were unusually harmonious at the other courtyard. The young lady's attendants had already arrived in the yard, just nearby.
Very good. Thank you for your hard work. I'll give you further instructions tomorrow. Just after giving instructions, a servant came to report to the young lady. There is someone outside the door claiming to be from the Prime Minister's residence, requesting an audience. Soon, Mu Fengjian and her mother arrived at the entrance together. The old servant greeted, "Greetings, madam. May I ask why Uncle Wang has come? Yonner's health is frail, and she needs to rest quietly. If there's nothing particularly important, I would prefer that Yonner not be disturbed during her recovery. Don't you agree, Uncle Wang?"
Yes, madam. You are absolutely right. The young lady does need to rest and recuperate. The Prime Minister is also very concerned about the young lady's health. So he sent me to check if everything in the villa has been properly arranged. Well, since Uncle Wan has already checked, if there's nothing else, you may return. Please go back and tell the Prime Minister that Yonner and I are both doing very well here.
Uncle Wang couldn't hold it in any longer, and immediately told everything that had happened in the residence, one by one. Uncle Wang, no matter how much you say, I still don't believe it. When my Yonner died of illness back then, it was a huge blow to me. Although they are all feeling unwell now, it has nothing to do with us at all, madam.
This old servant has come on the Prime Minister's orders. The Prime Minister said that Madam must hand over this month's silver notes. If Madam does not follow the Prime Minister's instructions, he will demote her to a concubine. Before Madam could respond, Mu Fengjian cut in. Uncle Wang, go back and tell him. It was the Emperor who granted my mother's marriage to the Regent and the Prime Minister. If he's not afraid of losing his official position, then he can go ahead and demote my mother to a concubine. Let's see what kind of fate awaits her then.
After hearing this, Uncle Wang was so frightened he nearly lost decades of his life. Uncle Wang, whatever the young lady says is what I say. Go back and tell the Prime Minister. I'm not afraid of being demoted to a concubine. I just wonder if he's afraid of the Emperor chopping off his head.
Uncle Wang was left speechless and unable to argue, so he could only leave the villa and return to report. In the Regent's residence, Ni Li He looked thoughtfully at the medicinal soup Qing Feng had brought. Your Highness, this is the medicine prepared by Divine Dr. Sun. If you don't want it, I'll pour it out. Just as Yi Lijue was about to nod, he heard Qing Feng whisper, if Miss Mu were here, she'd be able to tell if there's anything wrong with this medicine. Yi Lijue's eyes lit up, and he grabbed the medicine and ran out. Your Highness, where are you going? Back at the villa, Mu Fengjian was just about to enter her own space when she suddenly sensed a powerful force approaching her boudoir. Someone gently knocked on the door. Come in. The moment Yi Lijue entered, Mu Fengjian was instantly stunned. I say, Wang Yi, what are you doing in my boudoir in the middle of the night? Are you perhaps coveting my beauty? And what's that medicinal smell on you? It's not even a medicine that's good for you. Looks like I've really found myself a remarkable princess consort. I didn't expect you could identify the ingredients just by the scent of the medicine.
Hearing this, Mu Fengjian's face instantly turned red. Who said I was going to marry you? If I haven't agreed to something, no one can force manage, even the Emperor. Princess consort, please rest assured, I will definitely make you willingly marry me. Don't call me princess consort. We aren't married yet. And besides, I haven't even had my coming-of-age ceremony. Even after I do, I don't want to get married so soon. And even if I do want to get married, it might not necessarily be to you, right? Though we were granted marriage by an imperial edict from the emperor, if we don't obey the edict, that's considered defiancy a serious crime. I've heard that the regent never follows the emperor's edicts anyway. This time, the emperor did exactly the right thing, so of course I should follow his arrangement. Don't you agree? Yander. Mu Fengjian looked speechless. She hadn't expected the regent, who was so famous in the rumors, to be this shameless. Yander, don't be angry. I came to see you because I have something important. Take a look at this bowl of medicinal soup. Do you think there's anything wrong with it? Mu Fengjian lowered her head and sniffed the medicine in front of her. There's an extra ingredient in this bowl. Just that one ingredient is enough to trigger your poisoning, even though he only added 2 qian, about 6 grams. But for you that's more than enough. Ye Lihui lowered his head, forcefully suppressing his murderous aura so as not to frighten his princess. Your Highness, how did you manage to carry the bowl over here without spilling any of the medicine? Hearing Mu Fengjian's words, Ye Lijue finally snapped out of it. I came from the Qing Palace. Why? Are you interested too? Your Highness, you're quite eager to learn lightness skills, aren't you? Do you have any secret manuals on lightness techniques? Let me take a look. Since someone likes it, I'll give you my treasured basic martial arts manual. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me anytime. I can give you some pointers. Don't doubt it. I'll have Qingfen bring it to you early tomorrow. And I'll also send along some little trinkets from the prince's residence. Your Highness, there's really no need. I don't lack anything except martial arts manuals. Just have Qingfen bring the manual. Nothing else is necessary. How could that be? The whole Zishan kingdom knows that the emperor has betrothed you to me. If I don't show any gesture, wouldn't that be bad for your reputation? I don't want outsiders gossiping about us.
Alright, just do as you see fit, but don't make it too ostentatious. I really don't want to become the talk of the entire Zishan kingdom. Actually, Mu Fengjian is already the talk of the whole kingdom. Ye Lijue didn't have the heart to tell her that right now, everyone on the streets is discussing her miraculous recovery. Alright, I'll make sure everything is arranged tomorrow. You should get some rest early. Yenner, I'm leaving now. Hurry up, unless you want this young lady to see you off. Yenner, you really must be sick if you don't see me off.
Oh right, you really did bring this bottle of pills, though they can't cure your poison all at once. Alright, Yenner, I know you're worried about my health. Thank you for the pills. After Ye Lijue finished speaking, she tiptoed and flew out. The next day, Qingfeng passed by the Mu residence with 4 large carriages full of goods. Qingfeng is a reasonable person. I've already opened the gates. So just bring the carriages straight in. Prime Minister, I'm here on my lord's orders to deliver gifts to Miss Mu. It's all my fault. I got so excited that I forgot Miss Mu has temporarily moved to the other residence. Actually, it wasn't that Qingfeng meant to dampen the mood, but rather that the prince had specifically instructed her to pass through the Mu residence so that everyone there would know that Mu Fengjian is not someone they can bully. Master, the madam must also be aware of this, so why doesn't she try to persuade the young lady instead of letting her act recklessly? Losing face for the prime minister's residence is the same as losing face for the master himself. With the second madam fanning the flames, Prime Minister Mu finally couldn't hold back anymore.
This venomous woman, from today onward, she should be put in her place. Put in her place. He was about to say it, but the words about demoting her to a concubine circled in his mouth several times, and in the end, he still didn't say them out loud. At this moment, there were 2 pairs of eyes upstairs on the 2nd floor, watching the movements of the carriage. Third brother always says that 9th uncle is extremely wealthy. Just look at all these gifts he sent. There really are quite a lot. As for what's inside those brocade boxes, we have no way of knowing. Besides, even if there really are rare treasures inside, so what? Do you really think 9th uncle would marry a woman I've already broken off an engagement with? Third brother, don't take it lightly. I've heard that ever since this Miss Mu came back to life after dying, she's been acting very strangely. She's just a weak woman. How much trouble could she possibly cause? If you're really worried, isn't she staying in the other courtyard right now? Just find an opportunity to kill her. I bet the 9th prince might even thank you for it. So let's wait a while and see. If we notice anything suspicious, we'll deal with it immediately. Right now, we absolutely cannot leave any hidden dangers that could stand in your way. After saying this, the 2 of them exchanged a smile. Meanwhile, on the other side, the divine Dr. Sun's apprentice was making a scene, insisting on marrying the regent. Disciple, have you really thought this through? You've heard about marrying the prince, haven't you? Early this morning, the prince sent 4 whole carriages of gifts to his future princess consort. This shows that the prince actually values the eldest miss of the Mu family quite a lot. I've heard about it, but master, isn't that Miss Mu always sickly? Even if she marries the prince, can her frail body really bear him any children? Besides, hasn't the prince already married a main consort, and also has 2 concubines?
You really want to marry the prince as a concubine? Shen Mengru nodded firmly. She had worked so hard for so long to earn her reputation as the little miracle doctor, all for the sake of fulfilling her wish to marry the prince. Very well, I will enter the palace and request an imperial decree from his majesty to grant you marriage to the regent prince as a concubine. Divine physician Sun felt there was truly no other way. Only by sacrificing his disciple could he fulfill the emperor's secret order. The woman before us carries the subtle fragrance of a chef. She is willing to become a regent, even a concubine, just to oppose the emperor. In the prince's residence, the secret guards are reporting to young Lord Cheng. Are we really going to let this woman continue to nurse the 9th prince back to health? That is not the outcome she wants to see. As long as the 9th prince remains, she believes neither the emperor nor the 3rd prince will ever be at ease. After careful consideration, young Lord Cheng decides to strike first. You all.
Inside the regent's residence, Qingfeng is reporting to the prince about Shen Mengru, saying that divine Dr. Sun has entered the palace to request an imperial decree, asking the emperor to bestow marriage and make her the prince's concubine. Does she really think she's worthy of being my concubine? She's not even worth a single one of my fingers. What the prince may not know is that Shen Mengru is also known as Little 11 in the Zishan kingdom, and that divine Dr. Sun even claims to be the greatest physician in the world, yet he can't even figure out what kinds of poisons I've been afflicted with. How good could his disciple possibly be?
So, Prince, what should we do next? Ye Li thought to himself that he absolutely could not let this imperial decree reach the prince's residence. If Yaner found out, she would definitely be upset. Prince, while our people were watching divine Dr. Sun, they discovered that the secret guards of young Lord Cheng were also keeping an eye on him. Ye Li sneered. I didn't expect young Lord Cheng to get involved in this as well. In that case, let's make sure he's thoroughly involved. Qingfeng, have the people we've planted in the Shun prince's residence deliberately leak some information to Cheng Shiza. Tell him that the only reason I'm marrying Shen Mengru is so she can help nurse me back to health.
Qingfeng didn't understand why, but still obeyed the prince's orders. Just as he was about to leave, eunuch Ruo came out to deliver the imperial decree. Find a way to destroy the decree. No one else can know the contents of the decree if word gets to Yanir. He will be upset.
Qingfeng looked at the prince in surprise once again. Is the prince worried that his future princess consort will get jealous? Why isn't he leaving yet? Your highness, you are the regent. In the future, you'll surely have to take a concubine. And there's also Miss Mu, whom you'll have to take as a secondary wife. You can't always be unhappy about it, can you? Who said I want to take a concubine or marry Miss Mu? Remember, you must never mention such things in front of me. Yes, your highness, his subordinate replied, taking the order to heart. Meanwhile, in the imperial study of the palace, imperial physician Sun and the emperor were secretly plotting something major. The 2 of them talked for a long time, but no one knew the details except for them. After imperial physician Sun left, the emperor immediately summoned eunuch Wang. Go to the regent's residence and deliver the imperial edict. Yes, I will go to the regent's residence to deliver the imperial decree right away, eunuch Wang replied. He boarded a carriage and set off to the regent's residence, but before long, he was knocked to the ground by a speeding carriage. He was thrown out, and the imperial edict slipped from his hand, landing directly in a puddle of filth. Meanwhile, young Lord Cheng of the Shun prince's residence was still unaware of what had happened at the palace gates. However, the people the regent had planted in the Shun prince's residence had already deliberately leaked the news to young Lord Cheng.
As I suspected, 9th uncle is marrying Shen Mengru just to improve his health. In that case, how could I possibly let them have their way? Young Lord Cheng pondered for a moment, then suddenly remembered that Lord Wang from the Ministry of Personnel is fond of beautiful women and has recently been looking for a concubine. Why not give Shen Mengru to Lord Wang for free? With that, he immediately ordered Anwei to go to the inn and have Shen Mengru kidnapped. Inside the inn belonging to the Ministry of Personnel, Shen Mengru was overjoyed. Miss, what's making you so happy?
You'll find out soon enough. The 2 were chatting enthusiastically when they were quickly knocked out and taken away by the secret guards who entered. Lord Wang of the Ministry of Personnel was a lecherous man, especially fond of delicate beauties. Qingfeng knew that after today, Shen Mengru, who had a reputation as a little miracle doctor, would be utterly disgraced. Feeling relieved, he didn't linger and went straight back to report to the prince. At this moment, eunuch Wang, who had been thrown from the carriage, finally regained consciousness. This old servant is still alive. This old servant is still alive. Heavens truly have eyes. This old servant has lived to such an old age. It's really not easy. I can't believe I wasn't thrown to my death. It's truly a blessing in the midst of misfortune. Once eunuch Wang had recovered his wits, he realized that the imperial edict in his hand was missing. Where's the edict? The young eunuch beside him, trembling, raised his hand and pointed in the direction of the edict. After leading eunuch Wang over to take a closer look, he suddenly dropped to his knees with a thud. In a panic, he cried out, "It's all this old servant's fault for not protecting the imperial edict. I might as well have died from the fall just now." The more eunuch Wang thought about it, the more upset he became. Why was he so unlucky? So, he ordered the young eunuch beside him to lick the filth off the imperial edict. The young eunuch pleaded, "Eunuch, I really can't do it. Please have mercy. Besides, you just fainted a moment ago. The imperial edict is already soaked. I'm sure the writing inside is smudged too. Stop with all the nonsense and hurry up. Pick it up and clean it." The young eunuch had no choice but to obey, rushing over and frantically scrubbing at the edict.
Eunuch Wang looked on, quite satisfied, and nodded approvingly. He really went all out just to save his own life. If the emperor were to find out, he would surely be charged with deceiving the sovereign and executed on the spot. Listen up, all of you. Today, all you saw was a crazed horse. Then, the imperial edict in my hand was thrown out of the carriage, and I was knocked unconscious. The edict accidentally fell into a puddle and got a bit muddy. As for anything else, you know nothing. If you want to stay alive, do exactly as I say. Do you understand?
And as for you over there, hold on to the imperial edict and only hand it over when you reach the palace gates. Even our eunuch Wang is quite disgusted by this edict that's been tainted with. At this moment, Lord Wang of the Ministry of Rights looks at the beauty in the room and simply can't hold himself back any longer. At this critical moment, Shen Mengru wakes up as well. Seeing the old man in front of her, she almost throws up what she ate yesterday. "You old man, what are you trying to do?"
Do you know who I am? Let me out of here right now. Do you know who I am? You wouldn't lose out by becoming my concubine. Hearing this, Shen Mengru became even angrier. Do you know who I am? I am the little divine doctor of the Zishan kingdom, and after today, I will be the secondary consort of the regent prince. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and send me back to the inn. I still have to receive the imperial edict in a while. Upon hearing Shen Mengru's words, Minister Wang hesitated for a moment. He thought, the person who sent her here probably doesn't want the regent prince to marry her. If the regent prince really cared about this little divine doctor, she wouldn't be here right now. So Lord Wang came to a conclusion. No matter which side it is, he can't afford to offend either the little divine doctor or the concubine. At this moment, Shen Mengru finally showed a panicked expression. "I'm begging you, please let me go. I'm the little divine doctor of the Zishan kingdom. I can bring you many benefits. As long as you let me go, I'll work for you in the future." Little lady, don't cry. If you cry like this, it pains me. Look at how beautiful your little face is. If you keep crying, it won't look as pretty. From now on, you don't have to go out and show yourself to treat those people anymore. It's too exhausting. From now on, I'll take care of you. Shen Mengru thought.
But she was still unwilling to accept it. She had to get her revenge as she had to kill this old man, and she also had to find out who had sent her to this place. The most famous beautiful divine doctor in the Zishan kingdom has now been defiled by a fat pig, yet the emperor did not have her executed. Your Majesty, my humble disciple has been so humiliated. Please uphold justice for her. This old man Wang is so old, but still so energetic, and he is not afraid of dying at the hands of a woman. The reason why the emperor turned a blind eye to Lord Wang's affairs is because Lord Wang has always supported him to inherit the throne since he was a prince. But this time he ruined his plan, and he must be punished. The previous imperial edict of eunuch Wang is invalid. You go to the Shangshu mansion to convey the government's oral order and say that Lord Wang is really allowed to go to the south to see how the flood is this year and return within a month. Eunuch Wang accepted the order and left, thinking to himself that he had escaped another disaster. Divine Doctor Sun, are you satisfied with how I handled this? Divine Doctor Sun had no other choice. The emperor is clearly protecting Lord Wang. Your humble subject thanks your majesty since you have upheld justice for my disciple. I will take my leave. That night, Mu Fengjian secretly entered the prime minister's residence. Even though it was her own home, she still snuck in furtively. Soon, she arrived at the residence's storeroom. She took out a flashlight from her space and shone it around. My goodness, is the prime minister's residence really this poor? In such a large storeroom, there was only a small pile of things in the corner. This also indirectly proved that the entire prime minister's household had been relying on her mother to support them all these years. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She directly put everything into her space. Then, she quietly snuck into the second madam's room. At this moment, the second madam was sleeping like a dead pig. Mu Fengjian saw that the pimples on the second madam's face had healed, so she quickly sprinkled medicinal powder on her face. After she finished, Mu Fengjian hurriedly collected all the valuable items into her space. Soon, Mu Fengjian went to Mu Shuksue's room, as well as the old madam's Jifu courtyard. After tidying up everyone else, it was time to pay a visit to her old father. Next, Mu Fengjian quietly made her way to Prime Minister Mu's study. At this moment, Prime Minister Mu was snoring soundly. Mu Fengjian once again used her space to take things away, but suddenly discovered that there was a bottle she couldn't put inside. She walked over and touched it, and right then, a secret door opened right in front of her eyes. Without a second thought, Mu Fengjian went inside, and the scene before her eyes left her completely stunned. Chests full of gold ingots, silver ingots, and all kinds of jewelry were displayed openly, gleaming brightly. Seeing this, Mu Fengjian felt both joy and anger. Joy because she could take away all this scumbag's wealth at once, and anger because all these years, the entire Mu household had been exploiting her and her mother, yet he had hidden all the good things away. The more Mu Fengjian thought about it, the angrier she became, so she simply put everything into her space. After coming out of the secret door, Mu Fengjian gave Prime Minister Mu a pill to swallow. Although this pill wasn't fatal, it would make him continuously. After leaving the study, two of the Mu household's top experts were rushing over. Just as Mu Fengjian was about to enter her space, someone suddenly swept her up by the waist. With just this bit of skill, you still dare to stir up trouble in the Prime Minister's residence? My little princess consort is quite bold, he said. None of your business, she retorted.
Soon, the two of them landed inside a mansion. Where is this? Isn't it bad for us to trespass into someone else's residence? Don't worry, no one would dare to throw you out. Why not you little? Because this is my residence. Who would dare to throw out this princess consort? Mu Fengjian blushed shyly. We're not married yet, so you're not allowed to call me princess consort. Alright, I understand. Younger just rolls off the tongue so naturally. Are you that familiar with me at night?
Hearing the little princess consort call her by name, Li Shui was momentarily stunned. God, how long has it been since anyone called her that? Yaner, do you have any handy weapons I can borrow for free? The little princess consort replied, this is the secret manual His Highness gave you. You've almost finished learning it, so why so much nonsense? Just tell me if you have one or not. After thinking for a moment, Li Hui brought Mu Fengjian to the sacrificial altar in the palace. This is the place for rituals. Second, really smart. This is the sacrificial altar. Mu Fengjian rolled her eyes inwardly. How is that smart? Anyone could tell from the decorations here. This is the place where the emperor comes every year to pray for peace in the land, for the well-being of the people, and for the citizens to live and work in peace. If there's a drought, the emperor also performs rituals here to pray for rain. Get to the point, why did you bring me here? What exactly are you trying to do? Or do you want to do something out in the wild, or what? Li Jie pointed in a direction. I brought you here to show you this. There, stuck in a huge rock, was a sword. The scabbard and the sword had been inserted into the stone together. Right next to this sword was a small, pitch-black hole, just the right size for another sword. This was where the Chaifeng sword belonged. Back then, I pulled out the sword from this hole when I was a child. Mu Fengjian looked skeptical. A child could pull out the sword from the hole. At that time, I was already 5 years old and had been practicing martial arts for 2 years. You started training at 3, didn't you? But at 3, you were still just a toddler. Could you really wield a sword and practice martial arts at that age? Yes, it's possible. There's a rule in the royal family. As soon as you're able to do something, you start learning to read and write. As soon as you can walk, you can start practicing swordsmanship and martial arts. Speaking of this, Mu Fengjian imagined her future with Ye Li and thought that she couldn't let her own child go through such hardship. At the very least, she'd let them start reading and writing 2 years later. Watching the little princess's constantly changing expressions, Ye Li Jue found her quite amusing. The Chaifeng sword, only you can pull it out. What about the other members of your royal family? They've never managed it. In the royal palace, every newly born prince, once they reach about 5 years old, is brought here to try.
How many generations has it been? Ye Li Jue shook his head. I'm not exactly sure how many generations, but I know it's been at least 10. Mu Fengjian pursed her lips, pondering what kind of extraordinary sword was inside. If he couldn't pull it out, then she'd use explosives to blast it out if she had to. This sword is supposed to be a pair with the Chifeng sword. It should probably be called the Chihuang sword. This sword is named the Chuang sword, and together with the Chifeng sword, they form a pair. Legend has it that a pair of deeply devoted immortals forged these phoenix swords from black iron. As time passed, this pair of phoenix swords developed a spirit of their own. After the two ascended, they plunged the phoenix swords into a giant boulder, waiting for someone destined to come and draw them out. That's the whole story already? You're saying that's not enough to fill the time? Yeah, that's basically it. Yener, you can try now, see if you can pull it out. Mu Fengjian glanced at Ye Li Jie, a sly smile in her eyes. Ye Li Jie, if I can't pull it out today, can I just take the whole stone with me? Hearing Mu Fengjian's words, Ye Li Jue's mouth twitched hard. His little princess really had a way with word show. Could she possibly take the stone? The giant boulder is connected to the altar. How could she take the whole stone away? As long as you can take the stone away, there's no problem. This was exactly what Mu Fengjian was waiting for. If she couldn't pull it out later, she'd just come back when she had time and put everything here into her storage space. Standing in front of the crimson yellow sword, Mu Fengjian said to it, listen up you, the moment I grab you, you'd better come out. If you don't, watch out, I'll use the enhanced version of my supplementary food powder and turn you into a pile of dust. And then I'll use an enhanced version of sulfuric acid to completely corrode the powder, leaving not even a trace of you behind. As soon as she finished speaking and her small hand was about to touch the sword hilt, the crimson yellow sword suddenly emitted a deafening buzzing sound.
A sword that even 5 strong men, each weighing 500 jin, couldn't pull out has now been drawn by a girl who weighs less than 100 jin. The sword let out a piercing cry that shattered the silence around, and even experts from miles away are rushing over. At this moment, Qingfeng, who had just arrived, was also stunned by the little princess. Ye Li Jue's gaze toward Mu Fengjian grew even more profound. The prince's subordinates could sense experts approaching from all directions. She carefully put away the second crimson yellow sword, taking the opportunity to remind herself, if you have something valuable and can't protect yourself, never reveal it, or it could bring disaster. Can I still put it back now before it's too late? The crimson yellow sword in her hand seemed to sense its owner's thoughts, its hilt pressing even tighter against her palm. Oh no. Now I can't even throw it away if I want to. Let's leave here first. I'll explain everything once we're back. They're almost at the altar. Then let's hurry and go. Soon after, when the gathered masters saw the outcome, they all turned and left one after another. They needed to report this news to their masters as soon as possible. Meanwhile, in the imperial study, the emperor was breaking out in a cold sweat. At that moment, a figure swiftly entered the study, but the emperor's subordinate was a step too late. By the time the subordinate arrived, there was no one left there. Is the crimson yellow sword still there? Your Majesty, it has already been taken. According to my observation, the person who took the crimson yellow sword possesses profound skill. To think that someone so formidable would actually be a woman, Your Majesty. Lord Chen mentioned before that Huang Jian identified the woman as the main culprit. The emperor's expression grew unreadable and dark. In the end, he instructed, make sure to keep a close watch on the Prince Regent's residence and see if there's anything unusual happening over there. At your command. The three of them quickly returned to the Prince Regent's residence. Ye Li Hui hurriedly turned to remind Liana. You must never let anyone else know that you possess the Chihuang sword, or you'll constantly be targeted and get into endless trouble. With your current level of skill, you're no match for those people. In other words, I'm just a rookie right now, and if I'm not careful, I might lose my life, right? Don't worry. I won't take out the Chihuang sword until I have the ability to protect myself. Good. I'll have Qingfeng fetch another sword for you in a moment. This way, it can help you avoid drawing attention, but you still haven't told me why is it that everyone knows about your Chai Feng sword, and it's fine, but you can't let them know about the Chai Wang sword. Ye Li Jue, who had been smiling, suddenly seemed to recall something, and his expression gradually turned cold. When the late emperor was still alive, he had Minister Chen from the Su Astronomical Bureau divine the fate of the Zixin Kingdom. Unexpectedly, that old man Chen said, when the Phoenix Maiden draws the Phoenix sword, a golden yellow shadow will appear, and the sword will be called Dawnbreaker. The world will fall into chaos, but in the end, Zhongwei will unify it. Later, for some reason, a rumor spread that whoever draws the Qi sword will be able to unify the world.
Oh, come on. The Imperial Astronomer's divination, what a load of crap. I have no intention of unifying the world. All I want is to live a carefree life, watching the fires and trying out the swallows. Yener, you must be careful. This rumor isn't just known in our Zixin Kingdom, the emperors of the other 3 kingdoms know about it too. For their own purposes, they might even resort to stealing the sword or killing for it. Alright, Ye Li Hui, I should go back to sleep now. Okay, I'll walk you back.
The next morning, chaos reigned at the Mu Prime Minister's resident chickens and dogs were all in a commotion. The old madam was lying in bed, frozen stiff. The second madam and Mu Shangshu woke up, and when they saw their own appearances, each of them fainted dead away. At the same time, Prime Minister Mu was scolding the secret guards of the residence, saying, "What on earth happened here?" No sooner had Prime Minister Mu finished speaking than he heard, "Can any of you tell me what exactly happened last night?" As soon as he finished, another commotion broke out. The 2 secret guards below were originally quite nervous, but at this moment they were struggling to hold back their laughter. The old servant, Uncle Wang, really wanted to say, "Prime Minister, perhaps you should relieve yourself first. Don't end up soiling the bed frame."
I'm asking you a question. Speak up, what exactly happened last night? It was just a petty thief, short in stature. I was about to catch him, but someone rescued him halfway through. Please, Prime Minister, forgive us, forgive us. Look at this empty room. Do you think a simple apology is enough to explain this? You say it was just a petty thief, but could a petty thief really take so many things? Or was it the 2 of you who worked together to drug me and secretly move everything out? Even if you gave me 100 times the courage, I would never dare deceive you, Prime Minister. It truly was just that one thief. I swear I am not lying.
Prime Minister Mu looked at the 2 people kneeling on the ground. Judging by their appearance, they didn't seem to be lying. I'm giving you 3 days to recover everything from the study, otherwise I'll have your heads. Yes, Prime Minister. We'll go search right away and swear to retrieve everything from your study. On the roof, 2 hidden guards were discussing. Big brother, do you really think we can get back everything from the Prime Minister's study in 3 days?
Second brother, pack up and call third brother. Let's hurry up and go. This matter is just too strange. It's not something we can handle. Think about it. Last night we only saw a shadowy figure, and they didn't seem to be carrying anything. So how did so many things disappear from the study? I think this wasn't done by a human. There's little chance we'll be able to recover the Prime Minister's things. Big brother, are you saying that what we ran into last night was?
What do you mean was? Let's get out of here while we still can. But, Big Brother, didn't you just promise the Prime Minister that you'd get everything back no matter what? Are you stupid? If I hadn't said that, the Prime Minister would have had us all killed on the spot. How many heads do you have to spare? Big Brother's smart. He's right, let's hurry up and pack our things. Meanwhile, inside the study, Prime Minister Mu told Uncle Wang to keep watch outside, then quickly opened the secret door. As long as the gold, silver, and jewels were still there, nothing else would be a problem. Prime Minister Lu took a candle and went down to the storeroom, only to find it completely empty. Prime Minister Mu was in utter disbelief, even wondering for a moment if he was dreaming, until a sound snapped him back to reality. Prime Minister Mu finally accepted the reality. Who on earth could be so damned? Someone stole all my gold, silver, and jewels. Staring at the empty storeroom, Prime Minister Mu's heart, already battered by the shot, could no longer take it. He collapsed straight to the ground in a faint. Uncle Wang stood at the doorway for a long time, but when he didn't see Prime Minister Mu come out, he grew extremely worried. If the Prime Minister couldn't pay wages this month, how would he be able to visit the fragrant pavilion? So, he took the risk of entering the secret door and walked down to the storeroom below, only to find Prime Minister Mu lying there stiff as a board. Holding his breath, Uncle Wang immediately began performing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on the Prime Minister.
As a wave of chive breath hit him, Prime Minister Mu was successfully revived by the smell. Uncle Wang, from now on you're not allowed to eat so many chives. This old servant understands. Then I'll switch to eating garlic instead. With the impact of that chive-scented breath just now, Prime Minister Mu couldn't hold it in any longer. Russian air burst out with a escape.
Go and attack me to report to the Emperor. This man kept farting in succession at court, yet the Emperor didn't have him executed.
9 dishes. Poof. Why are you late to court today, Minister Wai Shi? Tell us, what exactly happened? Prime Minister Mu hurriedly adjusted his posture. Holding back his frustration, he explained everything. How a single thief managed to completely ransack the Prime Minister's residence. If this thief were to come to the palace, wouldn't he sweep the entire place clean? The Emperor thought Prime Minister Mu was exaggerating a Vieth had never seen anything like this before. Eunuch Wang, go to the Prime Minister's residence and check what exactly was stolen. Yes, Your Majesty.
Mo Aixing, you go out of the palace first and thank His Majesty. Your Majesty, this humble official still requests punishment for Prime Minister Mu's breach of etiquette before the throne. Granted, I already feel that Mu Angson has been a bit presumptuous. After court, go receive 10 strokes of the staff yourself, and do not attend court for a month. Thank you, Your Majesty. If the pain of 10 strokes is rated at 100, then the heartache of having no silver left in the residence is 1,000. With no silver, does that mean everyone in the residence should hang themselves one by one? Suddenly, Prime Minister Lu thought of a good solution, selling his concubines. So he instructed Uncle Wang to handle the matter, reminding him repeatedly not to let anyone unrelated find out that it was the Prime Minister's idea. Old servant, I'll go right away, Uncle Wang replied. With no other choice, Uncle Wang braced himself and quietly went to Kuihong Courtyard to find Madam Wang. Uncle Wang, how long has it been since you last came? Is the Prime Minister looking for a girl again? No, Uncle Wang replied. Madam Wang, you've misunderstood. I'm here for something else.
Go ahead, tell me what exactly does the Prime Minister want you to see me about? Well, Madam Wang, it's like this. We have too many concubines in our residence. The Prime Minister wants to sell some of them to Kuihong Courtyard. After hearing this, Madam Wang looked completely incredulous. Say that again?
The Prime
Prime Minister said he wants to sell a few concubines to Guihang Courtyard, and he asks that you keep this confidential. Madam Wang, Uncle Wang, you know that once someone has been a concubine, the price isn't what it used to be. I understand that, just tell me how much silver you want. Hearing that something strange had happened at the Prime Minister's residence, Madam Wang decided to take advantage of the situation, but considering how often the Prime Minister has supported Guihang Courtyard, let's say 200 taels of silver each.
Uncle Wang was a bit angry too. Wasn't this just taking advantage of others' misfortune? Madam Wang, your price is way too low. The Prime Minister paid 5,000 taels of silver for a girl back then, and now it's only 200 taels. Well, for the Prime Minister's sake, let's make it 300 taels each, but not a single coin more. Fine, 300 taels it is. So, how many concubines does your Prime Minister's residence want to sell? 20? Do you really take my place for a recycling center? After a tug of war between the two, the final price was settled at 300 taels each.
But soon, Prime Minister Mu's bold move swept through the capital, and even the Empress in Fengji Palace received the news that Prime Minister Mu really did sell off all the concubines in his residence. Your Majesty, that's not all. There's also the matter of strange thefts at the Prime Minister's estate. There's another rumor circulating outside. What rumor? The rumor is that ever since Miss Mu came back to life, strange things have been happening one after another at the Mu residence. First, the madams and concubines were disfigured, and then the entire Mu estate was mysteriously robbed. There are actually such bizarre things happening at the estate. What's even more serious is that I heard Prime Minister Mu is still making a scene in court, just won't stop. It seems Lord Chen was right. This Mu Fengjian really is a bold and audacious person. Indeed, Your Majesty was wise to have the Emperor call off the engagement between the third prince and Miss Mu. Just a few days ago, Ao came to visit me and told me he agreed to marry Lu Lingxi, the legitimate granddaughter of Imperial Tutor Liu, as his principal wife. I have already informed the Emperor.
I believe the imperial edict granting the marriage will arrive at the Lu residence within the next couple of days. Inside the Lu residence, Lu Linwei looked at the maid beside her with a wicked charm. Did you spread those rumors? Miss, I've already spread them exactly as you instructed, not missing a single word. Taking advantage of the recent events at the Mu residence, Lu Linwei fabricated rumors, claiming that the future princess consort of the regent is a bringer of misfortune, and that if the regent marries Miss Mu, disaster will follow one after another. At the same time, the third prince and young Lord Cheng were discussing this matter.
Third brother, don't you think something is very unusual? Ever since Miss Mu came back from the dead, every single thing that's happened at the Mu residence has been shrouded in mystery. Ziking, have you discovered anything? Not for now, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Ye Ziking seemed to think of something, then added, third brother, congratulations. The Liu residence has already received the imperial edict for the marriage, appointing Lu Lingwei as the regent's official consort. As soon as the imperial astronomer selects an auspicious date, the wedding can take place. But what about that disfigured Miss Mu?
Third brother, what do you plan to do? Mother used to say that the Prime Minister's residence could provide me with financial support, but now the Prime Minister's residence is so poor, where would the money come from? Of course, I want Mother to call off this marriage, but enough about me. What about your own marriage? Third brother, you know as well as I do, there's always been someone in my heart, even though it's just a childhood memory. His figure still lingers in my mind, and won't go away. The third prince looked at Ye Zicheng's determination, and could only sigh helplessly. Meanwhile, in the regent's residence, Qingyong was reporting to the prince. My lord, you absolutely must not drink this medicine. Investigate thoroughly why Divine Physician Sun has suddenly come into contact with the Southern Kingdom, and also secretly look into whether His Majesty has made any deals with Divine Physician Sun. Remember, do not alert them in any way. My lord, there are some rumors outside, I'm not sure if I should mention them. If they don't involve Yan, there's no need to say anything else. Under the pressure of the prince's gaze, Xingyan recounted the rumors about Mu Fengjian being a bringer of misfortune. As Ye Lichui listened, a chill ran down his spine. Has Biwei heard these rumors as well?
Replying to your highness, it seems the rumors haven't reached there yet. They only started spreading today, so they probably haven't made it to the other residents. Good, as long as they haven't spread there, so Yenner won't overthink things. Have you found out who's spreading these rumors? Replying to your highness, it was discovered that it's a maidservant of Miss Liu, the daughter of the imperial tutor, who hired people to spread them. Also, Miss Liu just received an imperial edict for marriage today. It said that His Majesty has already ordered the imperial astronomer to select an auspicious date, and the date will be chosen soon. Before long, she will marry the third prince, the granddaughter of imperial tutor Liu. Ha!
For the sake of Imperial Tutor Liu's past service in assisting the late emperor, I'll show him some respect. Although the death penalty is spared, he cannot escape punishment. Ye Lijie pondered for a moment, then said, I remember that Minister Chen's apprentice specializes in selecting auspicious dates, right? Yes, your highness. Good. Go find a way to have him choose an auspicious date that's a year from now. Also, go warn Imperial Tutor Liu's granddaughter she must clear up these malicious rumors by the end of today, or she'll have only herself to blame if I show no mercy. If there is another bad plan, let him go to Qingqing Temple to pray for the country's fortune for the rest of his life. Tell him that this king keeps his word and is a prince.
Every time Wang Fei makes a single poison pill, she has to mix it with 999 poisonous herbs. But now someone has gone even further than her. Yanzher looked at the soup Ye Liju brought and showed a look of terror. Yan'er, what's wrong? Who gave you this medicine? They must really want you dead. If you drink this bowl of medicine today, I can guarantee you won't last 3 days before you meet the king of hell. Yan'er, you probably don't know this, but in this life, the demons have a rule. If a prince dies without an heir, the princess must be buried with him. Mu Fang has gotten herself into trouble. She's just found herself a burden. What has Ming'er been thinking about for so long? I wasn't thinking about anything. Just tell me, who made this medicine for you? It was the one who's been taking care of my health all along. Divine Physician Sun, one known as the #1 physician in Xishan Kingdom. Yes, that's him. See, he's already betrayed you. So why are you still letting him run around your residence? Divine Physician Sun is involved in a lot of things. Until everything is clear, let's keep him around for a few more days. Mu Fengjian looked mischievously at Ye Lijie, then took out a porcelain bottle and placed it in front of Ye Lijie, who was quite puzzled. Second, what is this? This is something good for Divine Physician Sun. Doesn't he call himself a divine physician? Just quietly add this medicine to his food, and in a few days you'll understand. Good Yan'er, do you need me to send a few people to comfort and protect you? No need. I'll come to your residence for lunch tomorrow, and I'll bring you the antidote then. Good Yan'er, get some rest early. I'll be waiting for you at the residence. The next day, Mu Fengjian brought her 2 maids, Baizi and Gizi, to the blacksmith's shop. Miss, this is a place where we forge weapons. You're exactly the person I'm looking for. Here, take a look at this drawing. Can you forge this? The shopkeeper took the blueprint from Mu Fengjian's hand, and the more he looked at it, the more shocked and excited he became. Miss, this weapon is ingeniously designed, and it even has hidden mechanisms inside. May I ask, does this throwing dart have a name? Feiyan dart. What a powerful name, even the name sounds domineering. Anyone struck by this dart would be utterly annihilated, wouldn't they? I've been forging weapons for so many years. This is the first time I've ever seen something like this. Such a brilliantly designed dart, let me make 10 of them first. How long will it take to finish? Miss, this is our first time forging this kind of dart, so, to be safe, please come back to pick them up another day. Afterwards, Mu Fengjian also bought all the silver needles from the blacksmith shop. When she returned to the street, a burly man blocked her path. Baiji and Giji, seeing someone with ill intentions suddenly appear, immediately stepped in front of Mu Fengjian. Sir, please step aside. You're blocking my lady's way. How can a little maid like you speak like that? Do you even know who my young master is? I don't care who your young master is. It's not okay to block my lady's way. Oh, so you're a little firecracker, huh? My young master actually likes girls like you. You look pretty enough. How about becoming my young master's concubine? This young master could take her as a concubine, but I actually prefer the lady behind her. Hearing this, Baiji was so angry her face turned red, and Giji also stepped forward. With your fat pig face, you dare to dream about my lady? Do you even know who my lady is? Why don't you take a good look at yourself in a puddle and see what kind of person you are? Mu Fengjian raised her eyebrows as she listened from behind. These were indeed the maids she had personally chosen. Truly courageous. At this moment, the young lord's expression changed. She hated it most when others called her fat like a pig. You really don't know what's good for you. Looks like I've been too lenient with you. Tie up all 3 of them and bring them back to the Duke's residence. I'll teach them myself how to speak properly. Miss, we'll hold them off run. Mu Fengjian was quite satisfied with their performance today. After all, the 2 of them didn't know that she could actually fight. Immediately, Mu Fengjian stepped forward and said, "Wait." The young lord looked at her and said, "Little beauty, have you thought it through? Don't worry, I always treat beauties with great care. As long as you follow me, you'll never be mistreated." Hey, fatty, which family are you from? How dare you call someone fat? Get lost. I'm talking to the beauty here. This is none of your business. Then, turning back, Miss, I am the young lord of the Duke's residence, the future Duke himself. If you follow me, you'll become the Duchess that everyone envies. Mu Fengjian looked at the greasy, pig-like face in front of her with a half-smile, as if she didn't know how to paint grand pictures for herself. Ha! I'll remember the Sun State Duke's residence. I'll definitely go tonight. Beauty, you'd better keep your word. I'll be waiting for you. I'll have someone leave the back door open. My Duke's residence is easy to find. It's right behind the Prime Minister's estate. The second row behind it, you know? I know. Don't worry. I always keep my word. It's a deal. After saying this, Mu Fengjian left with her maids. The young lord just let them go like that. What if she doesn't show up? I can see the interest in the beauty's eyes. What woman isn't tempted by my status? This little beauty is no exception to the rule. Don't worry, she'll definitely come tonight. Also, remember to tell the boy guarding the back door to leave it open. Yes, young master, I'll remember. It's all thanks to your charm. Someone as distinguished and handsome as you. Even the most beautiful women can't help but be drawn to you. Inside the regent's residence, Ye Li Hui heard footsteps, and a look of delight appeared on his face. Oh, your highness, are you really that happy to see me? Please rest assured, I'll definitely manage these businesses well, and our Qi Lingjun will absolutely be safe and sound. Ye Li Jue glanced up at Dong Fangshuan with a calm look, ignored him, and continued handling official documents. Your highness, I rushed here on horseback and haven't eaten yet. It's almost lunchtime at the manor. Can I have lunch a bit earlier today? The manor hasn't prepared your lunch today. Go have lunch at a restaurant outside, and come back after you're done. Dong Fangshuan was stunned. In such a huge royal manor, there wasn't even a bite for him to eat. That had never happened before when he visited. Before he could figure it out, Qingfeng came to report. Your Highness, Miss Mu has arrived. Ye Li Jie immediately put down the memorial in his hand, got up, and walked outside. Second, are you hungry? I've been hungry for a while. Ye Li Jue, as soon as I entered the manor, I smelled the rich aroma of chicken soup. The timing is perfect. It seems I arrived just at the right moment. Princess Consort, I am Dong Fangshuan, a friend of His Highness. Mu Fengjian glanced at Dong Fangshuan, raised her eyebrows, and thought, Ye Li Jie actually has friends? My name is Mu Fengjian. The prince and I are not yet married, so please call me Miss Mu. All right, Miss Mu, I'll remember that. Dong Fangshuan replied. Seeing that the little princess's attention was focused on Dong Fangshuan, Ye Li Jie quickly spoke to Dong Fangshuan. Don't you have other matters to attend to? Go on then. Dong Fangshuan looked completely confused, had things to take care of. How come he didn't know about that? Qingyan immediately understood. What His Highness meant was for him to escort young Master Dongfeng out.